Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now I'm still using the i5-12400F in my personal system, as most of you probably know. I tend to mention it every chance I get. It's a great CPU that doesn't cost too much, works well with even the most basic of DDR4 or DDR5 socket 1700 motherboards, and can be paired with higher end graphics cards for a solid experience at higher settings. Don't get me wrong, there will be instances where it may be the so-called bottleneck, as you can probably notice in this 4070 Super 1440p gameplay, but it's done me very well over the last few years and I'll be very reluctant to upgrade. That said, when I found a reduced 14400F on Amazon resale the other day, I just had to try it out. We've never looked at a 14400F on this channel. I reviewed the 13400F a while ago in pairing with a 3060 Ti, trying to focus on a more budget sort of setup, but I haven't had much experience with 14th gen outside of the 14900K, which I tend to use for beefier graphics card benchmarks. There isn't a lot on the 14400F online in terms of reviews, even almost 10 months since it launched, maybe because it's essentially just a 13400F with a slight frequency tweak. I just want to give you my initial impressions and talk about some comparisons to my trusty 12400F to see if there are any massive differences and offer advice as to whether or not you should go for one of these over the legendary 12th gen offering. If the 13400F is a similar price where you live, which it seems to be in the UK at the moment, then you might as well go for that, but you're currently looking at about £50 between the 12400F and 14400F. I stuck this chip in the same H610M DDR4 board I've been using for years, and there were no issues. I immediately noticed pretty significant differences in the CPU intensive benchmarks. The Cinebench R23 multi-test was a few thousand points higher, and rendering a 1 minute 1080p 60fps video at 50,000 kbs took 15 seconds less in DaVinci Resolve. Navigating the UI felt a bit snappier too. For gaming, I ran comparative tests at 1080p to give both chips more to do. I also paired them with 32GB of 3200MHz DDR4 and my 4070 Super. So we'll start with Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p Ultra. The results here were very close, with 94 FPS on average for the 12th gen chip and 97 for the 14th gen chip. The percentile figures were very much the same, 52 and 53 compared to 42 and 42, so I mean not much difference here, nothing that you're going to notice. I then tried Starfield at high with both chips and we saw 91 FPS for the good old 12400F. The 1% low was 75 and the 0.1% figure was 61. With the 14400F we saw 103, so I guess those E-cores are really helping here, with a 1% low of 83 and a 0.1% low of 68. So it wasn't just the average that was improved, it was a more consistent experience. Kingdom Come Deliverance next. I like to include this because it can be very CPU intensive, especially in and around busy areas like Ratai here. 92 FPS for the 12th gen part with a 1% low of 47 and a pretty bad 0.1% number of 15. The 14400F did a bit better, 100 frames per second, with a 1% low of 55 and a more consistent 39 FPS as that 0.1% low average. It definitely felt better to play on here. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 next at Ultra 163 and 164 respectively for the averages, so not really much in the way of an improvement with the newer chip. That said, it was slightly more consistent with the 14th gen part. We're looking at a much improved 0.1% number, which perhaps is a little more important in an online competitive title such as this. I guess consistency is key. Is it worth the extra £50 or so? Well, that's up to you to decide. Don't forget there are plenty of AMD options to choose from now at similar prices that may offer similar or better performance. We can't rule AMD out at all. Red Dead Redemption 2 to finalise then. I'll keep this video brief because there isn't much else to say, but we saw a small difference of 2 frames per second with an average. Both produced very good results with the 4070 Super. The percentile lows were also improved ever so slightly with the newer chip, but that's about it really, and if anything goes to show that the 12400F is still very capable. I promise to stop going on about it very soon, and the 14400F I don't think is necessarily worth it from a strictly gaming point of view. not over the 12400F for £50, and certainly not over the 13400F. We have to think about potential Ryzen options too, as I said before, like the 7500F and the 7600, which are probably quite close in price. Maybe older 12th gen i5s like the 12600KF, for example. But there we go. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. I won't be upgrading my 12400F to the 14400F anytime soon. It simply doesn't make sense to go from an i5 12 to 14th gen, but maybe we'll look at one of the Ultra series CPUs next to see what they're all about. I hope you can join me then. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.